I wish I could go back in time and change the moment, but I can't. The painful story of how Larry Bird's cold rejection haunted journalist Dan Shaughnessy for decades. By Jan Ray T. Obgia, October 4, 2025, 8:22 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time +6. Larry Bird's intensity and discipline on the basketball court were legendary, but few stories capture his iron sense of control off the court as vividly as one awkward moment with Boston Globe reporter Dan Shaughnessy, a moment that left the journalist humiliated for nearly 4 decades. It happened one evening in the early 1980s, long before smartphones and social media blurred the lines between athletes and the press. For Shaughnessy, it was supposed to be a simple act of courtesy. For Bird, it was an unnecessary gesture that crossed a line he never allowed anyone to cross. A drink, a nod, and a rejection that lasted a lifetime. The year was 1981, during the Boston Celtics preseason. Dan Shaughnessy had just landed a coveted role as the Celtics and Red Sox beat writer for the Boston Globe. Though he had experience covering the Baltimore Orioles and working for the Washington Star, joining Boston's intense sports media scene was a different challenge entirely. Trying to make an impression, Shaughnessy introduced himself to the Celtics players during media day. Larry Bird, already the team's quiet superstar, was polite but distant, known for his distrust of the press and dislike for small talk. A few nights later, fate placed them in the same hotel bar at the Holiday Inn. Bird was sitting with teammate Quinn Buckner, his fellow Indiana native and former college player under coach Bob Knight. Shaughnessy recognized them but wisely kept his distance, taking a seat at the far end of the bar, what he would later call the loser end. Quote, still, in an attempt to be friendly, he ordered beers for himself and the 2 players. Buckner acknowledged the gesture with a nod and a raised bottle. Bird, however, didn't even look his way, just kept sipping from his Budweiser in silence. When Shaughnessy later decided to leave, he made what he now calls a terrible mistake. He sent over another round of beers. This time, Bird didn't just stay silent, he flatly refused the offer. The message couldn't have been clearer. Bird always had to be in control. Decades later, Quinn Buckner would reveal the real reason behind that uncomfortable exchange. Larry Bird refused the beer because he didn't want to owe anyone anything. Accepting a drink, to Bird, meant surrendering a small piece of control, and control was something he never gave up, whether on the court or off it. That single moment stuck with Shaughnessy for years. Despite having interviewed presidents, senators, and baseball legends like Reggie Jackson, he admitted that Bird's silent rejection remained the most embarrassing episode of his career. In his memoir Wish It Lasted Forever, Shaughnessy confessed, "Greater than, I haven't thought about this in almost 40 years and wish I could go back in time and change the moment, but I can't. It was a moment of nervousness and insanity, my face turns crimson just thinking about it." The reporter's dilemma, professionalism versus familiarity. Looking back, it's easy to see why Shaughnessy felt so mortified. As a reporter, buying drinks for players could be perceived as trying to curry favor or get inside access, something that could blur the ethical line between journalism and friendship. Bird, famously private and wary of outsiders, likely saw the gesture as inappropriate. He had little patience for anyone, especially members of the media, trying to cross professional boundaries. That night, Shaughnessy realized that in the world of sports journalism, a small act of kindness could easily be misunderstood as manipulation. How the game, and the rules, have changed. What felt like a career-defining blunder in 1981 might not even register as a misstep today. The modern NBA operates under entirely different norms. Reporters and players now share flights, exchange jokes online,